Thank you very much, Admiral. General Amos.
Chairman Levin, Ranking Member McCain, distinguished members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to appear before you to address the report of the Department of Defense Working Group that conducted a comprehensive review of the issues associated with repeal of Section 654, Title 10, United States Code, policy concerning homosexuality in the armed forces. I would like to begin by stating for the record that the study conducted by the Department's Comprehensive Working Group is a valuable examination of the issues associated with repealing the policy concerning homosexuality in the armed forces and serves to usefully frame the perspectives of our service members and their families. I am grateful for the efforts of the Honorable Jay Johnson and General Carter Ham. As team leaders, I believe they are working group faithfully to uncover the attitudes and opinions of our service members. The survey provides useful information about service member attitudes and issues regarding potential implementation of repeal across the Marine Corps. I would like to briefly share with you what this report says about our Marines' opinions concerning implementation. Viewed holistically across the Corps, including all military occupational specialties, approximately 45% of Marines surveyed viewed repeal negatively regarding unit effectiveness, unit readiness, and cohesion. 5 to 13% viewed repeal positively in those same categories. Of particular concern to me is that roughly 56% of combat arms Marines voiced negative concerns. Negative benchmarks for combat arms Marines range between 66% for unit effectiveness and 58% for cohesion. These negative perceptions are held almost equally by all ranks within the combat arms communities. What the survey did not identify is the risk to the force should repeal be undertaken while the Corps is engaged in its 9th year of combat operations. With half of the Marine Corps operating forces either engaged in fighting in Afghanistan, returning from theater, or preparing to deploy to combat again, their readiness and associated focus are foremost in shaping my implementation assessment. My experiences throughout nearly 40 years in uniform tell me that young men and women who volunteer to be Marines do so with honorable and patriotic intentions, and that even vast differences in backgrounds, beliefs, or personalities can be bridged. That said, if the law is changed, successfully implementing repeal and assimilating openly homosexual Marines into the tightly woven fabric of our combat units has strong potential for disruption at the small unit level, as it will no doubt divert leadership attention away from an almost singular focus of preparing units for combat. I do not know how distracting that effort would be, nor how much risk it portends. I cannot reconcile nor turn my back on the negative perceptions held by our Marines who are most engaged in the hard work of day-to-day operations in Afghanistan. We asked for their opinions, and they gave them to us. Their message is that the potential exists for disruption to the successful execution of our current combat mission should repeal be implemented at this time. In the final analysis, I'm faced with two questions. The first is, could we? Could we implement repeal at this time? The answer is yes. Despite the challenges I have briefly outlined above, at the end of the day, we are Marines. Should Congress change the law, then our nation's Marine Corps will faithfully follow the law. Marine Corps authorities, even its very existence in law, flow directly from Congress. I promise you that we will follow the law. Chapter 13 of the study does a good job of articulating most of the elements of successful implementation strategy. It will require and receive highly focused leadership at every level, beginning with me and the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. The second question is, should we at this time? Based on what I know about the very tough fight in Afghanistan, the almost singular focus of our combat forces as they train up and deploy into theater, the necessary, tightly woven culture of those combat forces that we are asking so much of at this time, and finally the direct feedback from the survey, my recommendation is that we should not implement repeal at this time. Today, Marines continue to faithfully serve around the globe, partnered with our sister services and allies protecting our freedoms and our way of life. The focus of my complete energy is to ensure our Marines are properly led, trained, and equipped, and that their families are cared for, so that our Marines can focus their energy on the vital task they are assigned. I can report to you that the combat effectiveness, readiness, and health and welfare of the Corps are as high as it has been in my nearly 40 years of service. Your Marines are accomplishing their many missions with professionalism and high morale, confident in the support of their families, fellow citizens, and elected leaders. Finally, on behalf of all Marines, their families, and civilian Marines, I want to thank you for your continued and faithful support. I know that the repeal issue has been difficult for all concerned. I am grateful for the opportunity to represent our Marine Corps on this important matter, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, General Amos.